Hi, welcome to Timberdoodle's 7th grade curriculum kit. I am Hope and this is my sister Pearl, and we're here to walk you through what's included in a 7th grade kit this year. Let's start out with language arts.
Yes, so this year we include the Mosdos Jade level. We include Mosdos in every grade from 3rd grade through 8th grade. We love this series because it is a fantastic way for your child to get an introduction to a variety of types of literature, so stories, poems, essays, a variety of different themes or parts of the world. However, everything is age appropriate. It's faith neutral, so regardless of your family's perspective, you're going to find that Mosdos is a good fit, but without pushing your child to read things that you are not comfortable with or that are too mature for their age level.
Yes, why we've chosen Mosdos as our literature piece is because this teaches real literary skills without the dark, cynical content. The short stories are going to span different centuries and cultures, as Pearl mentioned. Woven throughout, you're going to have vocabulary. We're going to be working on reading comprehension, analysis, all woven together within this program. Your child will read the sections and then they can complete the workbook pages. You can make it more intense if you want to, so there are some writing assignments or taking it further assignments for the child that that is their strength, or that is how you want them to build their strength. This is a great program for doing that. For the children that just basically need the literary component, you need to make sure that they're getting exposed to a wide variety of literature. You want to make sure that they are have some reading comprehension, that their vocabulary is growing. Then just reading it and filling out the couple worksheets is the way to go. Makes it super easy and doable.
We also include the Grammar for the Well-Trained Mind Red Bundle. Now, if you're familiar with the Grammar for the Well-Trained Mind sequence, you know that there are 4 years.
Yep.
Each year is associated with a different color. It does not matter in what order you complete it because each year teaches the same rules. But each year your student will have fresh literature excerpts that he's working with as an example and fresh exercises so that he can gain the mastery of the skills without the boredom of the same content over and over again.
Yes, so why did we choose this one? Well, one, like Pearl mentioned, it's working through different literary passages, which is just a better way to go at it than just random sentences that they're having to work with. We like that. Also like the open and go format, so you don't have to prep beforehand. Open the teacher's book, read to them what you are to read to them, and have them fill out the workbook. So super easy to use, super easy to implement. You're going to be doing a lesson a day, 4 days a week. Let the repetition do the work. You have the answer key, thankfully, so if you need answers, don't know what they're supposed to be doing, you've got that as your backup. Easy to use program to get the foundations for your child. Next up, we have the Wordsmith Student and Teacher Set. Now, this is a practical writing course for middle graders. So it's going to start with grammar basics. It's going to build the sentences, narratives, dialogue, and point of view. You're going to be working on word skills, sentence building, and real writing assignments, all done within the framework of a very approachable text. The writer writes to your child. It's very friendly, so the child is not overwhelmed with the concept. Works on it step by step, giving the example and then having your child practice it, giving the example and having your child practice it.
Yes, and it's very straightforward, so it's not like a lot of fluff, but it's also not going to be burdensome or loathsome. It very much the student can work through it on his own, feel successful, learn the skills to be successful, learn confidence with using punchy words, learn how to do surgery on his sentences so that they flow better, learn how to do proofreading. Lots of practical skills and the teacher's guide to help you guide your student through it. We also include Word Roots Level 1 this year. Word Roots is a fantastic series, so it's working on building your students' vocabulary, but not just through random words, it's through the Greek and Latin roots, so that your student will be able to, when he encounters a new word in something he's reading, make a very educated guess as to what the word might mean. It will also help with spelling. Really, it's just a fantastic way for your student to not feel adrift when he's reading new content, but to instead be able to say, I have an idea, I think this might be what this means, I think I'm still able to understand where this story is going.
Well, when you consider over 60% of English words come from Greek and Latin, that's the key. So kids are not just memorizing these new words, they're actually learning to decode them based off of what they have learned in word roots.
Exactly.
For math this year, your child will be using the Math UC Pre-Algebra set. Now, there's multiple things I like about Math UC. One is you have the hands-on components. So for your child that struggles with taking a mathematical concept and turning it into a real-world example, this is a set for them. The other thing I really like is it's mastery-based. So for your child your child will go through the program until they master the concept and then move on to the next one, instead of other math programs that touch a little bit on it, walk away from the concept for a while, and then come back hoping that your child still remembers. For more children, mastery works best because it makes sure they have mastered the skill before they move on. For some children, spiral learning is great, keeps them interested, and if that's the case with your child, feel free to customize in another math program. But we have picked Math-U-See because for most children, this will guarantee the most success. The other thing I really like about Math-U-See is it comes with the short videos by Steve Demme. Takes the instruction off of your plate as the teacher and lets your child learn through watching the video from Steve Demme and then using the workbook to practice the different problems.
Yes, and I also like about the Math-U-See course that even how the worksheets are designed, how many are included, is really set up to make it fit your child. So that your child masters the concepts, but it doesn't get tedious for him. So he does just the amount of worksheets that he needs and skips the rest, which is perfect because math can be very frustrating if it's too boring. It can also be very frustrating if it's too confusing. Math-U-See helps you hit the target in the middle, which I should mention, we highly recommend if you've not been using Math-U-See up until now, take the placement test before you dive in because you want to make sure you get the best possible level for your child.
Absolutely.
Negative times a positive. What's that going to be? Negative. What if you have a positive times a negative? Also negative. Here's the tough one. A negative times a negative. Let's think about it a little bit. Just looking at this, we've got positive and then we get two negatives.
All right, let's talk about critical thinking. So this year you have the basics of critical thinking workbook. It covers logic, it covers evidence, fallacies, facts versus opinions, argument forms. It uses colorful illustrations and some storylines that will help your student begin to understand the concepts. Very simple, straightforward workbook, very age appropriate for a 7th grader. We think critical thinking is perhaps the most practical skill you're going to be able to teach your student this year. What a very important thing to focus on. We are so grateful to have another good book from the Critical Thinking Company to help your student really take off with applying critical thinking.
And beyond, so it does target critical thinking, but beyond just critical thinking, it's also the logic aspect. So you're going to be targeting those weak fallacies. You're going to be learning where is the weakness in this argument, which is so vital in the world today, and probably every day, that you could look at an argument and say, I hear your argument, but there's this fallacy in it, which makes your points not valid. So I think this is a hugely important skill, easily accessible for your child, and a real highlight for us for putting in the curriculum this year.
In each grade, we also include a single-player logic game. This year, it's Antivirus, and what a fantastic game for your 7th grader. This is not going to be an easy game. Well, the beginning challenge is totally approachable. By the end, mind-boggling. It's very much similar to other sliding games where you're trying to get the piece out, but it's not the same. The pieces are all working on a diagonal, and multiple pieces will slide together, so it really takes the thinking up a notch. Your student's going to be learning to plan ahead multiple steps, not just one step at a time. So you're going to get that sequential thinking, you're going to be building that persistence, and again, working on the logic, working on the spatial skills, and what a fun way to do it of trying to get rid of the virus.
Yeah. If you've ever wondered, how can I teach executive functioning? Here's another way to attack it. To have to think that many steps in advance builds that executive functioning muscle in your child's brain. So just another wonderful way to look at thinking skills and critical thinking.
So here at Timberdoodle, we think group games are very important, good for building that social emotional skills, that bond between you and your student as you're playing together, as well as building other skills, so maybe spatial reasoning or logic, deduction, however. So we test a lot of games. I was a little skeptical about Got5 because being a numbers game, I wasn't so sure that would be a hit. I ended up loving the game. It is a fantastic way for students to learn deduction. It has a little bit of chance built in so that it's not always going to be the same person winning, but it's perfect for you to be working on some different strategies of how am I going to deduce what my numbers are. Good for you to be watching that as your opponents are also doing the same. Wonderful way, again, for you to be building that rapport with your student as you are playing as a group and kind of building off of the clues each other reveals, but also to be practicing your logic and your critical thinking.
So how you play it, you're going to set up the tiles. You can see theirs, but they can't see their own. And then in each turn, you're going to be asking a question using their answers to try to eliminate options. The first to correctly call all 5 wins, but a wrong guess means you're out. Next is the Thinking Toolbox. So this complements the critical thinking book that's also included in this grade. This one specifically will cover argument analysis, evidence evaluation, scientific method, and spotting bad logic. Done so with a lighthearted but deep content approach. It has a lot of humor, it's got funny cartoons, short chapters, real world examples. Back when we were kids and we went through it, this was one of our read alouds every night because it was so engaging that it didn't feel like schoolwork, but it really opened our understanding to all of this logic and bad reasoning and bad logic. So your child's going to practice evaluating sources, spotting lies, building real arguments. This is great for the opinionated child who needs logic to match their opinions. Really helpful, good resource for your child.
All right, in our classic kit, we have The Mystery of History, Volume 1. Now, if you've been using our classic kits all along, you've just gotten through a couple years of American history and civics. Now you're diving back into world history. The Mystery of History does a fantastic job of looking at the whole of the world. And in this level, because it's dealing with ancient history, it also integrates a lot of biblical history. So a wonderful way to see how the biblical story and the rest of ancient history ties together. Couple really unique things about this course. The book is very much story-based, so your student is just going to be totally absorbed going through the student reader. You also have a downloadable companion guide with quite a lot of activities, and the activities are where you can make it work well for a variety of personalities as well as for a variety of ages. So you have all sorts of options to pick from. Certainly don't do them all. The point is that you can pick and choose what makes it work well for your student. And if you're teaching a couple different grade levels this year, the Mystery of History is an option that you can easily make work for multiple grades at the same time.
Yep, 3 lessons a week. Pick your activities afterwards. Each week you can do a quick review, you can do a quiz. It's all mapped out. There's optional reading and video lists for kids that want to go deeper.
And in our non-religious kits, we have the Discover Medieval Culture and History. So this is following right after the ancient history that your student would have covered in our non-religious 6th grade course. It is a full year medieval history and geography program. And it's truly global in its perspective. So it's covering Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia, India, and it's connecting the geography with the culture, with the history. So your student is just going to have so much to learn about the medieval period this year.
Why we like the Discover for this grade is Discover doesn't just teach what happened, it teaches why it still matters. It exposes your child to multiple worldviews and perspectives, not just one side, and also builds critical thinking and global awareness. So they're going to see how the medieval innovations shaped the modern world today. How you're going to use it? They suggest day 1, your child does the reading. Day 2, they do the vocabulary and the activities. 2 chapters and or reviews a week will finish in a school year. Next up in the history, geography, social studies genre, we have 2 books that will kind of flesh out these concepts. So first off is the Bear Grylls Survival Camp. Your child will be reading real historical expedition and survival stories. You're going to be covering different global locations, tundras, jungles, deserts. It's going to be blending the history, geography, and survival skills all into one book. Vivid illustrations, really captivating. Your kids just going to want to pick it up and read it just for fun. It makes geography and history feel alive. This can be a great springboard for the creative writing assignments. So you can either you can assign pages and make sure they are getting through a little bit every week, or you can just leave it out and let them read it on their own, as they will probably be prone to do.
The last book in the History and Social Studies section is When Stars Are Scattered, which is a graphic novel. There's so much that your student can gain from this book. I think primarily it's a great eye-opener for what life is like for some other people in the world. So this story centers on a refugee family. There's disabilities within the family, poverty, different religious beliefs. It talks about Islam. It talks about the hopelessness. Honestly, there's a lot of hard challenges in this book. So it's one you're going to want to read alongside your child. However, it's handled very tactfully, very tastefully, and it's really one that you're going to enjoy reading alongside your child. I know some people some people love graphic novels, some people are a little more skeptical of them. One particular advantage for this being a graphic novel is that where this is such it's a setting that will be very foreign to your child. It's a very sandy refugee camp in Africa. The graphic novel really helps your child step into that and begin to empathize with the situation in a way that verbal descriptions alone would be difficult for them to step into.
It's a book that, when being previewed, brought multiple of us to tears. Again, just so well done, so well written, so well illustrated, that it really lets you empathize with the realities that this child and his family were facing.
And I think that's such an important skill when your student is studying history, social studies, different cultures, to be able to...
not this vague concept out
yes.
there. It puts it into real life for them.
Yes.
Next, for science, we have the Real Science for Kids, and this is book 7 this year. Now, this is kind of the capstone science book. It's applying all the knowledge that they've learned previous years across chemistry, biology, physics, geology, astronomy, and the focus is more on how the science is used in real world. So solar power, oil spills, real world problem solving. I love that the Real Science for Kids has colorful illustrations, clear text. The assignments are reasonable. You're going to do about a chapter or 4 to 5 sections a week to complete it by the end of the school year. Very doable. But if you're looking for more than just a textbook that your child's going to read, though I believe that that is enough for a lot of students, there's also the option to access the hub to get the digital online components. Pro, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, so you will have downloadable student pages, downloadable teacher pages. You can learn more about experiments on there. Probably our favorite new feature of the hub this year is that your student will have access to the digital textbook with a read aloud option. That works so well for some students who are auditory learners or who maybe are just a little overwhelmed to work through the text themselves. This will help hold their hand, get them through the text, and help them really learn the science.
Next in science, we have the Know Your Body series. So this is great because it's not just a textbook to be read, it also includes fun activities for your child to be doing in the book, whether it's crossword puzzles or mazes or whatever it is that goes along with the concepts. Great for visual learners, great for kids that need that variety and that little mix up in their learning style. This is going to help build health literacy. So for you, those of you that have the state that requires there to be a health component, this helps fulfill some of that requirement. It's covering circulatory, respiratory, and nervous systems.
Yes, and I love that it's from the same publisher who has done the Dr. Bonafide books that if your student's been in 3rd through 6th grade, he's loved, but now is applying it to a broader variety of topics, so it's not just the bones, it's so much more, and again, wonderful topics for your student to begin to learn. All right, let's talk about the different STEM components in our 7th grade kit. So first up is the Fisher-Technic Mechanic and Static Kit. It is a 500-piece precision engineering kit. Your student's going to be building these hands-on models like cranes, bridges, windshield wipers, so much more. You're going to be exploring some of the simple machines, some of the structural supports such as for bridges. A wonderful hands-on way for your student to really grasp and begin to be able to picture and be able to understand some really important engineering concepts.
And why did we pick this set over different types of engineering sets? Well, this has been a family favorite for years and years because it's the same system that is used by real engineering professionals for prototypes. The pieces are high quality. They're not the kind that are going to easily break or fall apart on you. I know as I went to take pictures of some of the kits this year, I had a Fisher-Technic model fall to the ground several times during the picture taking. One piece fell off, easily slide it back on, no breakage, no massive destruction. So this is the kind of kit that will not be frustrating for your child as they learn these concepts. The models are going to work for them and work with them. So it's 1 model a week. There's 30 models. Some of the models that are more difficult, you may want to take more than 1 week on just to help step out the assignment. There are wordless instructions, so no reading required, but once they've completed the model, if they want to understand the science behind it, there's a downloadable PDF so they can understand how what they just built works and why.
Your student is also going to get to enjoy Buzz the Code Bug this year. So it's going to start with some light assembly. The robot of sorts comes mostly assembled, but there's going to be a couple pieces your student will get to add, and then he gets to hook it up to the computer and run some code. Now, the really unique thing about sets from this manufacturer is that your student is not sort of left on his own to try to figure out coding or to build coding from scratch. He will learn how to code, but many of the assignments are mostly pre-coded with an intentional bug added that your student gets to discover, correct. Also, what's fantastic about this is that it's not strictly online. You just code it and see the results online. No, you do code it, but then you see it immediately implemented in Buzz the code bug. So Buzz's lights will flash, or he will buzz, he will move, he will vibrate. So your student will see real life implementation of coding has real world effects.
All right, next we have Tecti. This is a construction system that includes plates and hinges that will enable the structures to bend and fold, twist. If you've ever done those kind of puzzles on paper where you'll look at a piece of paper or a shape and say, if you folded it or if you swiveled it, what would it look like now? This is the hands-on version of that. So again, this is one of those products that when we were putting it through the preview process and putting it through its paces, I was a little skeptical at first. I knew it was a great product, but I don't know, it just looked like cubes. And then trying to assemble it and put it together and take it from the directions and turn it into 3D and the cause and effect of if I put this hinge here, but it's facing that way, how is that going to enable me to attach this piece here? So again, trying to think multi-directionally, trying to think multiple step. It's very good for building that skill with your child. That is a skill that they were going to be able to take and use in a lot of different areas of life.
All right, next let's talk about art in 7th grade. Simply Draw by Bob Parsons, super resource for your student to begin to understand the basics of drawing. I know for many students, for many people, drawing feels like it's a talent. You either have it or you don't. And this text breaks it down into such simple steps and such understandable concepts that any student can come out having his drawing skills massively improved and maybe even feeling confident to say, hey, I actually can draw. I can apply this in a variety of areas. I can do what I want to do with art and drawing. It's a spiral bound book, super for working directly in. However, there's also a PDF if you wanted to download extra practice pages. There's some online videos for some of the lessons so that you can get a little more understanding of the concepts. Humorous, approachable, perfect for a 7th grader to really begin to understand the basics of drawing.
Yeah, and I am really excited about just the small upgrade from going the 3-ring binder, just you need to insert it, to now being spiral bound. It's ready to use, easy to implement, no lost pages. I love that.
Yes.
Next we have the My Year of Art. So this is 365 daily prompts that will have your child doodling, sketching, creative prompts. It will be step-by-step or free form. Most are just going to take a couple minutes. The beauty of this book is that it allows your child to be creative every day. Now, for you going through the school year, because you're not going to need 365, you can just have them pick and choose their favorites, or you can have them do it every single day of the year, whatever works best for your family. But it takes the mindset of I'm not really a creative person and turns that to be wrong and enables your child to realize I can be creative in all these different ways through all these different ideas, and enables them to be building that creativity.
We also include the Summer Night Shadow Box. Now, we've talked about in some of our other videos about how we feel like it's really helpful and important for your student to be exposed to a variety of different art forms. Learning how to do one thing is great. Learning how to do many things, it can really open up his world to see what he can do. So this is a very unique art form with 10 layered pieces. He'll be painting each layer, adding as much detail as he likes, then layering them all. It's a very fascinating thing to realize I can make a painting not just in 2 dimensions, but in 3 dimensions. How am I going to do that? It can be done in an afternoon. It can be spread out a little bit over several days. It can be done quickly, but I think your student is probably going to want to add more detail. So it's probably going to be at least 60 to 90 minutes, but he can go as fast or slow as he likes, add as much detail as he likes. Creates a very interesting and lovely finished piece.
So going off of what Pearl said, we also include a needle felting kit. So again, exposing your child to a number of different art modalities. This is going to be working on the skill of felting, which has been a fascinating one as we've previewed a bunch of different ones to realize the world that is open to you, the things that you can make once you learn the skill of felting. So this one's going to specifically target animals. It's going to build fine motor skills. It's going to work on patience and craftsmanship. It's a great way to do unplugged, hands-on creating in just a relaxing format.
Now, the one safety note is obviously with it being needle felting, there are sharp needles, so your student is going to want to take a little bit of precaution, be sure he's being safe with them. But I do think he will find it is really an eye-opener, an amazing thing to realize. Again, I can create art not just in 2 dimensions. I can't, it's not just drawing, it's not just doing a painting. I can actually use art skills to make something. What an incredible skill for him to walk away with.
Before previewing these kits, honestly, I'd never done needle felting before, so this has been a fascinating skill to learn the ability to change and form the character, to add, oh, it's a little flat on this side, I'll add some more felt, or I want to add some color here, I want to make this softer and make this firmer. All that skills involved in here. You're going to have your child work on it for 20 to 30 minutes a week, building on the piece that they've been working on or moving on to the next one as they finish it.
Yes, and if that sounds a little overwhelming of, oh, wait a minute, I don't think my 7th grader is going to feel confident doing that, this is a very beginner-friendly kit. So again, for those who have never done the skill before, to really ease them into it and then set them up for future success.
Another reason we've chosen these particular art kits, as we mentioned in other videos, again, it gives your child the ability to then take his art and do something with it. So not only have they learned the skill of felting or learned the skill of layered painting, now they are able to, especially with the felting, take it and say, I think now that I've learned how to make this animal, I could also make this, which would sell really well at farmer's market, or I can make this for grandma, or I can make this for the new baby that was just born for my friends or whatever. So you're saying great skill, good activity with the ability to take that and build on it. Also included is the test prep for 7th grade. So if your state requires yearly testing as ours does, this is a helpful book to prep your child for testing, for you to get a outside look at how do they do on a test, how are they scoring, where are the weak points, so you can be prepping them for the state tests. Even if your state does not require a test, this again will give you an outside look at how did they do. Of everything that we covered this year, where are they scoring at? Where are the weaknesses? Where are the strengths? Did we cover everything? Kind of give you that reassurance and inside look at that. So for the end of the year, have your child work through the book, see where they land, gives you peace of mind, or gives them prep so that they don't have that testing anxiety.
And of course, with every curriculum kit, we include the handbook and perhaps even more importantly, the online scheduler access. So the handbook is going to walk you through different items we've included. It's going to give you a little bit of an overview of how we like to schedule it. The online scheduler is where you really make it work for your family. So you can do things faster, do things slower, have something customized. You know, it's a wonderful way for if you have something else you want your student to be doing, whether it's, you know, chores or something outside or memory work he's doing or music practice, sports, whatever, something you want to make sure he's completing on a regular basis. You can put that into the schedule on the online scheduler. That will become part of his weekly checklist. It's a fantastic way for you to have the flexibility of, you know, coping to adapt to real life, but at the same time, having that structure so that you have the confidence that you are making the forward progress that you need to make.
And it can be formatted as a daily schedule or a weekly schedule. So depending on what works best for your family, you can say, I need a daily one, or nope, I just need to make sure that in the week they've completed all these things.
Yes. And alongside that, we also have the reading challenge. Now, it's wonderful if your student has something that he already likes to read, but a lot of students and a lot of adults tend to get into a little bit of a rut of what they will read. It's really helpful to broaden his horizons a little bit, and that's what the reading challenge is designed to do. So again, that's included in the handbook, but there's also the online component to it so that you can be looking through some options for the books that he'll be reading. Wonderful resource, all comes included with every curriculum kit.
I think that wraps it up for the 2026 7th grade kit. As always, if you have any questions, please contact us, email us, chat us, give us a call. We are here to help. If you need to make customizations, we can help you figure that out. Don't forget to take placement tests that are available online. And again, contact us if there's anything that we can help you with. Thanks for watching, and we hope that you have a great homeschool year together.